Hey there, amazing friends, and welcome back to another episode of Talk Easy. I'm so glad you're here because this is not just another video. Today, we're talking about something that can honestly change your life. I'm talking about communication, the real kind. The kind that gets you noticed. The kind that builds confidence, boosts your income, and transforms your relationships. Think about it for a second. Have you ever met someone who just lights up the room when they speak? They're not the loudest. They're not famous. But when they talk, people listen. They make you feel something. They leave a mark. That's not magic. That's a skill. And it's a skill you can learn. In this episode, I'm giving you 10 practical tips that helped me build confidence, grow my career, and connect with people on a whole new level. No boring textbook advice. No fake promises. Just real strategies that actually work and that you can start using today. Oh, and as you listen, your English is going to improve too. So it's a double win. If you're ready to grow, to speak with more clarity and confidence, and to feel seen when you speak, then stay with me. Let's begin. Let's transform. Tip 1. Say without saying. Okay, this one is powerful. And not many people realize just how important it is. Psychologists say people form their first impression of you in just 7 seconds. 7. That's all you get. Before you even get a full sentence out, someone has already made up 70% of their mind about you. Whether you seem confident, smart, trustworthy, likable, or not. Isn't that wild? So, what does that mean? It means you're already speaking, even before your mouth says a word. Your posture, your facial expression, the way you make eye contact, your smile, your vibe, your whole presence, sends a message. Let me paint you a real picture. 2 people are sitting in the waiting room before a job interview. Both of them have the same degree, same qualifications. But one is slouched, scrolling on their phone, looking bored and tired. The other one is sitting up straight, with relaxed shoulders, a calm energy, and a warm little smile. Now tell me, who do you think the interviewer will like more? Even before they ask the first question? Exactly. The second one. No doubt. Why? Because that person is already saying, I'm confident. I respect myself. I belong here. And they didn't say a single word. So here's your mini checklist for nonverbal communication. Walk into a room like you mean it, even if you're nervous inside. Smile, not a forced one, but a gentle, honest one. Stand or sit with your back straight. It shows strength. Look people in the eye. That's how you build trust. Don't fidget or mess with your hands. It gives off anxiety. When you master this 7-second rule, you win half the battle before you even start speaking. Because people don't just hear your words, they feel your energy. And energy never lies. Tip 2. Storytelling. Okay. Now lean in close. Because this right here, this is where the magic happens. If you want to inspire people, connect deeply, and leave a lasting impression, you need to get good at telling stories. Storytelling is the heart of great communication. Here's why. Facts are easy to forget. But stories? Stories stay. When you share a story, people don't just hear you, they feel you. They remember you. Let's say you want to explain why hard work matters. You could say, hard work is important. Sure. But honestly, that's boring. No one's going to remember it. Now picture this. There's a boy named Sam. He's from a tiny village, no electricity, no internet, nothing fancy. But every night, he studies under a street lamp. Why? Because he wants to become a doctor. People laugh at him. They say it's impossible. But 10 years later, He becomes a doctor and saves the lives of the same people who once made fun of him. Now tell me, what's going to stick with you more? Exactly. The story. Because stories move hearts. So whether you're giving a speech, explaining something at work, or just making a point in casual conversation, use stories. Real examples. Visual scenes. Help people see what you're saying. Our brains are wired for that. Make your story short, but full of feeling. Include struggle, include the win. Let the listener see themselves in your story. That's how you connect. That's how you become unforgettable. Tip 3. Empathy. Now, if you want people to really trust you, to feel safe around you, to open up to you, you need to develop one magical gift. Empathy. So, what is empathy? It's more than just listening. Empathy means feeling what someone else is going through. It's like stepping into their shoes and saying, I get you. It's listening not just with your ears, but with your heart. And why is that so important for communication? Because when people feel seen, heard, and understood, they open up. They connect. They feel safe. Without empathy, words fall flat. They feel cold and disconnected. Let's look at a simple example. Imagine you're telling a friend about a problem at work. You're upset, tired. You just need someone to hear you. One friend shrugs and says, don't worry about it. It's nothing. Boom, instant wall. You feel ignored, right? But another friend pauses, looks you in the eyes, listens quietly, nods, and says, wow, that sounds really tough. I can imagine how heavy that must feel. That moment? That's empathy. And it changes everything. So how can we show empathy when we talk to someone? Start by really listening, not just staying quiet while you wait for your turn to speak. Actually listen. Let their words sink in. Acknowledge how they feel. You don't need to solve every problem. Just showing that you get them is enough sometimes. Use words that make people feel heard. Something like, I can imagine how hard that must be, or wow, sounds like you've been carrying a lot lately. Even a gentle, thanks for sharing that with me, goes a long way. And put the phone down. Turn off distractions. Be fully there with them. Let me tell you a little secret from the real world. Whether it's in sales, relationships, or leadership, it's not the ones who talk the most that win people over. It's the ones who listen with empathy. Because when someone feels truly understood, you don't just win their attention, you win their heart. And that's powerful. Tip 4. The sweetest sound. Now, let's talk about something Dale Carnegie, the guy who wrote How to Win Friends and Influence People, once said. He called it one of the greatest secrets of communication. Ready for it? He said that a person's name is, to that person, the sweetest sound in any language. And honestly, I couldn't agree more. When you use someone's name with warmth and sincerity, you instantly make them feel special, like they matter. Because a name, it's not just a word. It's who they are. It holds their childhood memories, their parents' voices, all those stories and moments that made them who they are. So when you say their name, especially with kindness, it touches something deep in them. Picture this. You walk into a buzzing Starbucks. There's music, conversations, coffee machines going off. You order a caramel macchiato and say, it's for Daniel. 5 minutes later, with 10 other people waiting around you, the barista lifts up a cup and calls out, caramel macchiato for Daniel. Have a great day, Daniel. And suddenly, out of the noise, something small but warm hits you. That moment feels personal. You're not just another order. You're seen. You're remembered. You might even smile without realizing it and think, I like this place. That's the hidden magic of using someone's name. In job interviews, work meetings, even friendships, it builds connection. And once people feel connected to you, that's when trust, loyalty, and good vibes follow naturally. Quick tip: use names in a natural way. You don't need to say it every 2 sentences. Greet people with it, mention it while making a key point, and wrap up conversations with warmth. In a world full of people wanting to be noticed, simply remembering someone's name can make you unforgettable. Tip 5. Emotional intelligence. Okay, this next tip? It's a game changer. If you truly get this one, you'll grow a lot. In your career, your relationships, your leadership, everywhere. It's called emotional intelligence. So, what is it? It's being able to recognize your own emotions, manage them, and also understand how others are feeling. But the most powerful part? Learning to respond instead of react. And yep, there's a difference. Reacting is when your emotions take over. It's quick, impulsive. Responding is when you take a moment, breathe, and choose your words with intention. Let's say you're in a meeting and someone suddenly criticizes your idea in front of everyone. If you react, you might snap, get defensive, or say something harsh. And then you look emotional, even unprofessional. But if you respond, you pause, you breathe. You say, thanks for the feedback. I'll give it some thought, and maybe we can work on it together. Boom. You look composed, wise, respected. You just built a bridge instead of a wall. So how do you build that emotional strength? Pause before responding. Even just 3 seconds can shift everything. Name what you're feeling: anger, sadness, insecurity, and ask yourself, what's the best response for this moment? And always remember your bigger goal. Winning a fight is useless if you lose a relationship. The best leaders, the most trusted voices, they're emotionally intelligent. They stay calm in chaos. They speak with purpose, and they don't let temporary emotions cause permanent damage. Tip 6. The echoing technique. This next tip is so subtle, yet so powerful, especially if you want people to feel heard and connected. It's called echoing. So, what's that? Echoing means repeating a small part of what someone else just said, naturally and warmly. Why does this work so well? Because it shows you're really listening. It makes the other person feel seen, understood, and encouraged to share more. Here's what it looks like in real life. Your friend says, I've been so stressed at work lately. You gently echo, stressed at work. Now you're not giving advice. You're just holding up a mirror and inviting them to go deeper. And they do. Yeah, my manager keeps piling on deadlines. I'm drowning. That little reflection created space for a real conversation. Another example, your colleague says, I finally finished that project. It took 3 months. You smile and say, 3 months? That sounds huge. They light up. Yeah, I'm exhausted, but it feels amazing. I learned so much. See what just happened? You made them feel important just by echoing a few words. Important note here, don't repeat everything. That'll sound robotic. Just echo a key word or emotion. Keep your tone gentle and curious, like you actually care. In tough conversations, sales, or even negotiations, echoing helps people feel safe and respected. And when someone feels truly heard, they're way more likely to open up or find common ground. Tip 7. Voice modulation. Okay, we've talked a lot about words. But now let's talk about how those words sound when they come out of your mouth. Because here's the truth. You could say the most beautiful, inspiring thing ever. But if your voice is flat, dull, or monotone, people will check out. They'll stop listening. Your voice is your instrument. And if you want people to stay tuned in, you've got to play it with variety and feeling. You know, your voice? It's kind of like your personal soundtrack. It's your music. So, what is voice modulation? Well, it's the way you play with the highs and lows of your voice, how loud or soft it sounds, how fast or slow you speak, and when you pause to let your words land. Mastering this makes your speech feel alive, full of energy, and honestly, kind of magnetic. Let's break it down together, step by step. First up, pitch. Pitch is basically how high or low your voice sounds. If you always speak in a super high tone, people might think you're nervous or even a little annoying. And if your voice is always low and flat, well, you could sound bored. Or sleepy. Great speakers? They know how to play with their pitch. They go higher when they're excited. They lower their voice when things get serious or emotional. Imagine telling a big win story. And then, bam, we won the whole thing. That's high pitch. That's excitement. But then you say, it wasn't easy. There were nights we almost gave up. That's a lower pitch. It brings out emotion, depth. Next, pace. That's how quickly or slowly you talk. Too fast? People get anxious. Too slow? They zone out. So the key is to adjust your speed to match the mood. Fast pace works great for exciting moments. The second we saw the results, we jumped, we screamed, we hugged. It was surreal. But when the mood shifts, so should your pace. But deep down, we knew the real journey had just begun. Slower. Steady. Serious. Control your pace, and you control the emotion. Now, let's talk about pauses. A pause is a small, powerful moment of silence. And wow, it can do wonders. It gives your listener space to think, to feel what you just said. Let me show you. Sometimes, the tiniest decision changes everything. See that? Those quiet beats make the sentence feel deeper, more powerful. It's like a moment of silence that speaks louder than words. If you ever watch the best TED Talk speakers, you'll notice this. They don't just talk. They perform. Their voice goes up and down. They pause, they play, they sing their story. And it works. Because when you master your voice, you don't just talk, you touch hearts. Tip 8. The broken record technique. Okay, tell me if this sounds familiar. You're with someone who just won't take no for an answer. They keep pushing, nagging, trying to wear you down until you give in. Ugh, so uncomfortable, right? That's where the broken record technique comes in. It's super simple, but so effective. Here's how it works. You stay calm. Totally calm. And you just repeat your main point again and again, without arguing, without losing your cool. Like an old-school vinyl record that skips and keeps saying the same thing, this technique helps you hold your ground without turning things into a fight. Why does it work? Because it shows strength without aggression. It protects your boundaries. It tells the other person, hey, I mean it. Let's go through a real-life example. You're at a party, and someone keeps trying to convince you to drink. You don't want to. Them, come on, just one drink. You, with a smile, no thanks. I'm not drinking tonight. Them, don't be boring. You, still chill, no thanks. I'm not drinking tonight. Them, just a little sip. You, gentle but firm, no thanks. I'm not drinking tonight. You didn't get angry. You didn't argue. You just stayed solid. After 2 or 3 times, they'll get the message and back off. Another example. In a business meeting, a client wants more services without paying extra. You say, "We'd love to help, but that would require an additional fee." They push again. You calmly repeat, "We'd be happy to assist, but that would come with an additional fee." No drama. No over-explaining. Just calm repetition. When you do this right, people start to respect you more. Because you're clear, professional, unshakable. Tip 9. Humor. Okay, now let's lighten things up a bit with humor. Humor isn't about being the class clown or cracking jokes every 2 seconds. It's about bringing a little warmth, playfulness, and realness into your conversations. Why does humor work so well? Because it relaxes people. It makes the atmosphere feel lighter. It helps others feel safe with you, like, "Hey, this person's cool. I can be myself here." If you can make someone smile, they'll remember you. And more importantly, they'll trust you. But let's be clear, humor is not about making fun of others. Ever. It's about being lighthearted, relatable, and sometimes even laughing at yourself. Picture this, you're in a serious job interview. They ask, "Can you tell us about a time you made a mistake?" Now, you could freeze and panic. Or you could chuckle and say, "Only one mistake? Because I've got a whole collection." Then you shift into your real story. And suddenly, the interviewer smiles. They relax. You seem human. And that small moment of laughter makes you unforgettable. Or let's say you're giving a speech on teamwork. You start with, "They say teamwork makes the dream work, unless your dream is a nap. Then I work better solo." Boom, laughter. And now they're listening. So how do you use humor right? Be willing to laugh at yourself, not others. Point out little funny things around you. Be observant. Keep it light and genuine, don't force it. Avoid sarcasm or anything that could hurt. When people laugh with you, they drop their guard. And when they trust you, they listen to you. That's the power of humor used wisely. Tip 10. Vulnerability. Now we're entering deep waters. Let's talk about something that's misunderstood by a lot of people. Vulnerability. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's not crying all the time or sharing every detail of your life. No, it's about being honest, being real, letting people see your true feelings, your struggles, your imperfect moments, without hiding behind a mask. And here's the truth. When you open up like that, people don't run away. They come closer. Because it reminds them that they're not alone in their own struggles. Everyone's fighting something inside. So when they see someone being honest about their pain or fear or past mistakes, they feel safe. They feel connected. That's why vulnerability builds trust. It makes you human, relatable, strong. Think about it. It takes real strength to say, "I messed up," or "I was scared," or "I didn't know what to do." That's not weakness. That's courage. And when you speak from that place, people listen with their hearts, not just their ears. They remember you not because you were perfect, but because you were real. But let me be clear, vulnerability doesn't mean dumping your whole life story onto someone or crying in every conversation. It's about sharing just enough to create connection, not overwhelm. So, let's clear something up. Vulnerability? It's not about dumping your feelings everywhere or asking for sympathy. Nope. It's about sharing the right real story, at the right moment, in the right way, to create connection, not pity. Let's picture something for a second. You're standing on a stage, giving a motivational talk. The audience is looking up at you. There's an unspoken expectation that you'll be flawless. Perfect. You could step up there and say, "I've always been successful. My life's amazing." Sure, they might clap politely, admire you for a few minutes, but that's all. They won't feel you. Now, imagine you begin your talk with this instead. 5 years ago, I was completely broken. I had just lost my job. My bank account was almost at zero. Every morning I woke up feeling like I didn't matter. One night, I sat alone in my little kitchen, staring at a packet of instant noodles, and I realized that was the only thing I could afford for dinner. And I thought to myself, is this it? Is this what my life has come to? But then, something inside me whispered, this isn't the end. This is the start of something new. And from that moment on, I began slowly, step by step, to rebuild. And today, I'm standing here not because I never fell, but because I learned how to rise again and again. What happens when you speak like that? People lean in. Some wipe away quiet tears. Others nod, their hearts aching with recognition. Some smile gently, because your story gave them a little spark of hope. And they'll remember you, not because you seemed perfect, but because you were real. You didn't sound like some untouchable superhero. You came across as a fighter. And let me tell you, people admire fighters far more than flawless heroes. So, how do you use vulnerability the smart way? Here's a simple step-by-step guide. Choose a real moment from your life. A challenge, a fear, a failure, something that shaped you. Be honest, but keep it short and impactful. Don't overshare. Shift the focus to the lesson. What did you learn? How did you grow? Tell it naturally, like you're sitting across from someone you trust. And with hope. Let the story show your strength and how far you've come. In the end, it's not about trying to impress people with fancy words or perfect grammar. It's about being present, being honest, and letting people feel you. So take these 10 tips. Practice them. Not just once, but every single day. Make them part of how you speak, how you listen, how you connect. Thank you so much for being here with me today. If this episode helped you, don't forget to like, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more heart-to-heart conversations like this one. And now, go on. Speak your truth, because someone out there is waiting to hear it.